So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about trail riding and my thoughts on, or at least my thoughts on how I go about it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's how I do it. And when I first trail ride a horse, I trail ride them alone. And one of the reasons I trail ride them alone is because sometimes I think horses that only get trail ridden with other horses can't go out alone, or let's say you're out trail riding somewhere and someone's got to leave, your horse might get upset about that. So I tend to trail ride them alone. Here's a little video of one of my horses going out on his first trail ride. So this is Rupert's first day trail riding out here. And I always, when I first start trail ride these horses alone, because I personally feel if they're not ready to trail ride alone, they're not ready to trail ride. Because if they can't come out here on their own, that means they've probably got a bit of separation anxiety or a bit of underlying anxiety. And I make sure before we leave the arena that there's no separation anxiety, there's no what I call destination addiction. So destination addiction would be the idea that it's an old saying that says beware of destination addiction. Destination addiction is the idea you'll find happiness in your next house, in your next job, or with your next car, until you give up the idea that happiness is somewhere else. It'll never be where you are. And when I'm trail riding Rupert here, he's quite happy here. And when he gets over there, he'll be quite happy there. And when he gets a bit further down, he'll be quite happy there. But he doesn't have any destination addiction. He's not trying to get away from something, and he's not trying to get towards something. He's just in the moment. And that's probably the secret to being able to get these horses to trail ride alone, is to teach that first. If you can get that bit working, everything else is really, really simple. So that was Rupert. And if you think about that trail ride was not for me. So this is not me. I'm going to go for a 15-mile trail ride out in the wilderness somewhere. This is just riding around our place here. And I'm not doing that for me to have an enjoyable trail ride. I'm doing that as part of his education. I think that's probably, one point about that. I've posted before about trail riding alone, and I have people go, I'd never go out trail riding alone. What if something happens? And it's not. I'm not talking about going out in the wilderness here. I'm talking about giving him a good first experience, and then what happens is you get to where, if you were trail riding with someone and they needed to leave, your horse would not be bothered by it. So here's a video of me riding Chance, who has pretty much only ever trail ridden alone. And we've got another horse with him, and you see what he's like when that other horse leaves. One thing I like to do with horses when teaching them to trail ride is teach them to trail ride on their own first. So they go out on their own. They're quite happy to go away from home. They're just as happy to come back, but they're not trying to go back, and they're not missing their friends. And one of the reasons I like to do that is because if you're going to trail ride with someone, like I am here with Robin and Ray, at some point in time, that other horse is going to have to leave. So you can go ahead and leave if you like, huh? At some point in time, that other horse is going to have to leave. And you might notice with Chance right here, Ray goes cantering off into the distance, but Chance is still walking along here on a completely loose rein. His energy didn't change. He's not worried about Ray going up there out of sight. And like I said, that's because I taught him to trail ride without another horse first. And I see a lot of horses that get trail ridden only with other people. And, that's fine as long as the other people are always there. But if you're riding with someone and they get a call and, got to pick my kid up from school and I've got to gallop home or whatever, you'll tend to find that those horses can be problematic. And what I really try to do training horses is, I know what problems you might encounter later on, so I try to teach them the answers they need for those encounters before those encounters actually happen. As the Greek philosopher Archilochus said in, 800 BC, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your preparation. And there's a lot of things I do in my basic writing stuff that doesn't need to be done then, but it's the answer to problems that will occur later on. So you can see that didn't bother him too much. And once again, I want to stress, this is not trail riding for me. This is trail riding for him. So I'm doing these things to help prepare these horses. And so you don't want to overload them. I'm not going to go out trail riding for the first time with 20 other horses and them all, you know, someone's horse is all wound up or whatever. I'm making sure that they can go out alone and be quite comfortable going out alone. And like I said in that video with Rupert, you know, if a horse can't go out and trail ride alone, for me, they're probably not ready to trail ride because they've got some, you know, what I call destination addiction. Anyway, so that's just my thoughts on the beginnings of teaching trail riding and how I go about it.